Hey everybody, welcome back to Blacklist Universe. I am Mike, your illustrator du jour. Well, every jour, I guess, every day. Doing something a little bit different today. This is Halloweenizing Luffy from One Piece. This was actually drawn and quartered, our weekly live stream. Every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we get together, me and a handful of other professional artist friends, and we draw a topic of the week. And this particular week we were Halloweenizing a character, and I chose to do Luffy. I kind of wanted to test out some more anime content on my channel. You might have seen my westernizing Goku thing. This particular drawing isn't going to be westernizing. It really was just basically it's giving Luffy a Halloween costume. And so what I did was I kind of crossed him over. You guys know Karate Kid. You know what the costume Johnny wears in Karate Kid, where he's, the skeleton, his whole crew, the original Karate Kid, by the way, not the Netflix series. But he dons a skeleton bodysuit and paints his face up like a skeleton, and I'm like, you know what? That would be a fun costume to put on Luffy to Halloweenize him as a character. I wasn't really going for anything terribly serious. It's just sort of a fun little thing I was doing. I thought you guys might enjoy watching a time-lapse version of this while I give you a little walkthrough. So I did this on my iPad Pro. The program is Procreate. These are questions I get in the comments, so I'm sort of answering them ahead of time. So it's Procreate on the iPad Pro. I use a 6B pencil to do my basic rough layouts. I sort of do it in a purple, and then I lower the opacity of that so that I can ink over it. And then when I do ink over it, I generally use the Goku ink brush. It comes stock with Procreate, so if you're gonna be using that, it's sort of just the shape of it. If you're like making your own brushes, it's sort of just it's thin on the edges and then it's thick in the middle, and it's just like a straight line. It's not a triangle or anything like that if you're making your own brushes on these things. And oddly, that gives me both, when I widen it up, it gives me sort of a brushy feel. It's not completely opaque, as you can see, so it does leaves these I don't know how you say, a texture that's almost like real ink. So I don't know, it's kind of cool. When you brush over it once, it gives you just a little bit of opacity and a little bit of texture, right? Sort of like you're using ink or a very thick ink wash. And then if you brush over it twice, it goes like zero opacity. So so it really does give you this feel that you're using a brush and overlapping and whatnot. But also, when I reduce the size of the brush, it acts almost like a quill. So I get sort of the best of both worlds with just one tool. I've been using these traditional tools, oh my gosh, for decades. Since the 90s, I started using quill and brush, early 90s, 92, 93. And so, I know how to use them, and I know that translates when I'm doing this digitally to making it look like I am using traditional tools in the end product. In fact, using the Goku ink brush, if I didn't do any just drop fills and I just painted it all out like this, or inked it all out like this, if I printed this out on a really high quality printer, you probably wouldn't even be able to tell that it wasn't done with traditional tools. That's how, realistic the texture is on this brush. So anyways, enough about that brush. You guys don't care about this brush. With the costume, the black area of the costume, obviously I don't want to just drop a solid black in there. That gets really boring really quick. I do like details. And as opposed to what some people think, it's like, I made this argument on Twitter, people don't seem to understand what I'm saying, that certain people, they use details to hide a fundamental lack of understanding of basic drawing skills. And I'm not saying everyone does that. I love details. Some of my favorite artists, Jeff Darrow, Carlos Pacheco, literally there's so many Travis Charest, so many of my favorite artists use heavy detail, but they use it on top of a basic understanding of form, structure, anatomy, design, storytelling, all of that stuff. And unfortunately, there are some people, and I'm not going to name names because they might be artists you love. That's fine. Look, art appreciation is very, very subjective. But the basic rules of illustration, the basic rules of anatomy and structure and form and balance and storytelling and tone and tint and hue and all of this stuff has very objective rules and guidelines. And you can't just ignore them and think you're like the greatest thing since sliced bread. Artists appreciate artists who understand the craft. I don't want to sound all snobby about this. I mean, there's... Look, I'll just use case in point. Todd McFarlane. Everybody loves Todd McFarlane. I don't. I mean, he's a great businessman. I mean, I appreciate his story. I appreciate certain things about his work. I care about the basics. I care about anatomy, form, structure, all that stuff. And I get it. There's artists out there that don't care about that stuff. But there's artists that do. And as a fan, you're allowed to like whatever you want to like. Right? But I've had people coming to me telling me I'm wrong about what is objectively... You can't say anatomy doesn't matter when you're trying to draw realistic people. If you're trying to do like cartoony stuff, there's rules you can definitely bend and rules that you can break. But if your purpose is to draw things realistically, I'm sorry, but reality has rules. There are rules. And if you don't like the rules, well, then pick another style. Honestly. I'm trying not to be snobby about this. I just care about art. And I care about quality. And I know this is just a silly rant that I'm going on. But it's like, it's been driving me absolutely apoplectic on Twitter. By the way, Mike S. Miller Art on Twitter. If you want to follow me there, you don't have to. I get into a lot of political debates, and I get into I'm into crypto, and it's not all about art on there. But I've been having this argument on there, and it's what do you want to say? I just had to come on here and vent for you. Anyways, this is Halloween, Luffy. Because Halloween is in 2 days and I haven't done anything for costumes for my kids and I don't know what I'm going to do. But I'm going to have to figure it out pretty quickly. I thought it would be a good time to upload this. We actually did this a couple weeks ago anyways, and I never had a chance to upload it. But now it is almost Halloween, so I thought I'd give you guys out there a special little treat and actually make this video for you to enjoy. I hope you have a wonderful hallowed Eve. I just discovered where the word Halloween came from. It's All Hallows Eve, right? But it's All Hallows Evening because it's All Saints Day. All Saints Day is the November 1st, but back in the old days they used to start the day at sundown. Halloween, which is it's Hallow Evening, hallowed evening, and they truncated it to Halloween. So anyways, that's why there's such a thing as Halloween. This is Luffy in a Halloween costume. I don't know. I hope you like it. If you like this kind of content, or you have suggestions for better content than me ranting about this stuff, then do like, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff, and hopefully I will see you on the next video.